It is 1:45 in the morning on Sunday. WrestleMania has just wrapped up. The arrogance of WWE to put on a 5-hour pay-per-view following a 2-hour pre-show.
They can't say you don't get your money's worth. I mean, that's like, we spent like $20 an hour on wrestling.
Can we have more West Coast WrestleManias, please?
Yeah, actually.
If you're going to do that, then go back to the Bay some more. Go to LA. Do Seattle again. I don't know. First, let's talk about the set. Can we just talk about the set for a minute? What did you think of the stage?
It blew me away. It was awesome. Probably one of the best sets ever. Definitely very, a WrestleMania set. You couldn't just have it any time. But man, they went above and beyond on the set, and I give them kudos for that.
They had the roller coaster elements, but it was just kind of set piece. It wasn't like, I think there were no actual roller coaster cars dropping people off.
Well, I don't know. Sasha Banks had something like that.
That was cool. And let's talk about the scale of the ramp. Good Lord, that was like Alamo Dome on steroids, and it was also like there was 100 or 200 foot angle that it was at.
It reminded me of the Japanese entrances they do, like in the Tokyo Dome and stuff,
but like still way taller. It was extreme, and
it was cool.
I think just overall, like the globe and just the whole stage setup. And the whole ring on top of the contraption, the light rigging,
right?
It didn't really fit the theme to me, but it was cool. And that night when the ropes lit up, I thought that was cool.
It did look neat.
Yeah.
It looked really cool.
All right, start off with the pre-show, the kickoff show. I don't have any purple jackets, so you just have to bear with me here. It's Cruiserweight time as Neville defends the Cruiserweight title against Austin Aries. And this is a match that a lot of people thought should have been on the main show. When watching this match in person, as it happens, you could argue that yes, it should have. What did you think of the match?
I thought the match was, it was the opener. They did a lot of good spots, but at the same time, they didn't completely waste everything to the point where I'm not unexcited to see them wrestle again. I think that they're going to have some future good matches.
Yeah, there's a lot of good high-flying and risk-taking from both men. Neville doing a little bit more than usual. So Aries hits the 450, and it's a false finish. Can't believe that Neville kicked out of that. At least Aries can't believe it. Eventually, Neville hits some chicanery. He kicks the middle rope while Austin's hanging on it. That gets the throat. And then Neville hits the red arrow to win the match, retain the championship, and that's all she wrote. The Honor the Giant Battle Royal. This was, in my opinion, it was I think it was a better booked battle royal than in the past couple of years, mainly because there was a lot more star power. It felt like there was a lot more names that this person could win. We didn't get Shaq this year. Instead, we got Gronkowski.
I'm good on.
That was a weird thing. The fact that he hopped the railing, security stopped him, and then they let him in the ring anyway to do his.
I think
spot.
Security didn't. I think that the lady at first that did security didn't really know.
It was
an
awkward moment. Security thought it was a shoot, and then the crew was like, no, let him in this show. Killian Dane, part of Sanity, formerly Big Damo from the UK scene, he was in the match.
Right.
He was like the one. He's the
Ty Dillinger of the Rumble.
Well, yeah, he's the NXT member who gets in the Battle Royal, like Baron Corbin was last year. Goldust, I marked out big for Goldust's outfit. It was throwback
WrestleMania 12-esque.
Throwback to WrestleMania 12 with that whole era where he had the gold and the white, and even the face paint was a little scaled back. It wasn't so Darth Maul-y. Big Show and Strowman eliminated really early, and then it opened it up for Sami Zayn that he got eliminated, and then it was down to Mojo Rawley and Jinder Mahal. Like, oh God, this is where it's going, isn't it?
Right.
So then the aforementioned Gronkening happens.
As soon as he stands up and has the Mojo Rawley Stay Hype t-shirt or whatever, it's like, we already know what's going to happen.
Mojo Rawley wins after knocking Jinder off the apron. What do you think about him as a Andre winner?
They've used it to catapult guys in the past. I'm very interested because I'm still not 100% sold on Mojo yet.
I said this before back when Zack Ryder got hurt, that I think this is a good opportunity for them to use Mojo as a single star they've always tried to build him up as. In NXT, he was a single star forever before they put him with Zack Ryder. And in the rare case now, usually when, in tag team wrestling now, when someone gets hurt or suspended, the other guy is just also taken off TV for however long. But this is one of those rare cases when when Mojo stayed on TV after Zach's injury. It's either use him or don't, and I think this is a good chance to really to catapult him to the next level.
If he's not doing any better by this time next year, then we'll know that was a flop.
And you thought people were pissed that the SmackDown Women's Championship match got bumped to the pre-show. Here comes the Intercontinental title match as Dean Ambrose goes against Baron Corbin. Now, I missed this match because I went to go get a snack because I thought, hey, the advertised pre-show matches are over. But boy, was I wrong, because then that match happens. It actually begins and ends in the time it takes me to get a damn hot dog. Biggs, you watched the match. What did you think about it?
I didn't think it was bad. It was a typical match. I didn't think they did anything too big. The finish was kind of cool. He went for the end of days, basically, and Ambrose flipped over and hit him with the dirty deeds. Now, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, so Ambrose retains the title there. Now, I saw a commentary by OTRS Central on Twitter that really made me think about it. I want you to get your thoughts on this as well. When you look at the 3 Shield members, you can say that Rollins has improved, and you can even argue that Reigns has improved a lot since the team broke up.
Absolutely.
Whereas Ambrose, over the last year or so especially, has kind of stayed the same, if not downgraded a little bit. What do you think about that?
I don't know about downgraded. I thought he was so over last year, and they were having him fight Triple H and stuff. I don't want to say they should have put him over more than they did necessarily, but I think he's a top contender to be a star. I think I don't know, man. I don't think he's any worse. Definitely. I would say he's been flatlined. That makes sense.
And you thought people were pissed about Shane versus AJ happening at Mania in the first damn place. They opened the proper show. Shane McMahon and AJ Styles in the official Mania opener.
I swear they're just like, can I say this? They're just like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like...
we're going to do what we want, and you're going to just deal with it, and you're going to freaking pay.
And you're going to sit there for 8 hours, and you're going to like it. That being said, I thought this was a good match. Now, was it match of the night? You could kind of argue for or against it. I think it was better than people expected. They did a good job. And here's the thing. I'm shocked as hell that Shane did some good chain wrestling there. He
did. I think
they're trading taunts. They're changing arm drags and stuff. He did leapfrogs, and people oohed and awed over the leapfrog, which, by the way, is one of the first things you learn as a professional wrestler is the leapfrog. And he does the leapfrog, go, oh!
But we alluded to this, Brian. Even me and you talked about this in our predictions. We talked about some of the fans at WrestleCon this week when they asked us about it. Shane McMahon is usually protected in gimmick matches or something to that effect, and he didn't look weak to me tonight.
No, I think he looked very strong. I don't think AJ looked weak in getting the offense that he was taking from Shane here.
Right.
Like I said, both guys were able to kind of be toe to toe with the wrestling aspect of it. Then they started trading punches. Shane throwing a lot of punches, not a lot of them looking good, but Styles sold like a champ for him. I love the Styles clash out of the triangle hold. Well, first of all, the fact that Shane caught was it a 450 or was it a springboard move? I can't remember if it was a 450 or not. If it was a 450, even more impressive. But Shane catches him into the triangle hold, and then Styles counters that with the Styles clash. And that doesn't put him away, which is amazing. So the story in this match is because it's a traditional match, Shane was theoretically handcuffed, but here's how they get past that. They have a ref bump out of Styles' Pele kick in the corner. Ref is down for a long time. AJ does the coast-to-coast, or he tries it, but Shane catches him. Shane does his own coast-to-coast. Right. Shane misses the elbow drop to the outside of the table, but that's not enough. He has to miss a shooting star press.
Right.
Holy shit, Shane busting out
open
shooting
up
star
the
press.
store, or to open up the program, he's doing a shooting star press.
And I was crazy to see him do that. I popped big for that, but he misses the shooting star. AJ with the phenomenal forearm, he wins the match, as he should have, in my opinion, in the opinion of many. Hopefully this will lead to better things for AJ. No more authority figure fighting. He's gotten this out of his system.
I think him and Orton are going to start feuding. I mean, it's been in the books.
Yeah, spoiler alert, by the way.
Right. So we'll see what happens.
U.S. Championship on the line as Chris Jericho defends the title against Kevin Owens. I think it's the first defense he's ever had since he won the belt.
Right.
And here's the thing. There was great build and hype to this match. I was really looking forward to this. But when I watched it, I feel like, and this isn't necessarily an insult, but in my opinion, I'm not trying to make this insulting, but it just feels like a typical Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens match. Even though they haven't fought much, it's like this is the kind of thing you would expect. They didn't do anything that necessarily wowed me. Like, it was a lot of, trash talking from Kevin Owens. They were trading walls of Jericho. It's like, for a match that was as for the rivalry as heated as this, I would have expected to see more stops being pulled out. This seems like a match you could have had on Raw in terms of just what they did.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was kind of lackluster in the sense of, like big spots that were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's happening or something, but I mean, they brought out a huge list of Jericho. It must have been 20 or 30 feet tall.
The huge list, the giant list of Jericho, the sparkly scarf, I popped big for that. Jericho hits Kevin with the code breaker, and that's it, but Kevin gets the one finger on the ropes. That was, I thought, a brilliant little moment there. Fighting outside, Kevin hits Chris with the apron power bomb and rolls him back in the ring and covers him, and that's it for him. That Kevin wins the U.S. Championship. And now Jericho seems to be riding off into the sunset, allegedly going on his Fozzy tour. It's, I wish the blow-off for this could have been for the Universal Championship. I wish the match were better. Not to say it was a bad match, it just wasn't an amazing match in my opinion.
Right, well, thank God it wasn't for the World Heavyweight Championship, because I think we got something a little more exciting. We'll talk about that in a little bit, too.
The Raw Women's Championship, the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match. Let's just break down who got eliminated. Nia Jax gets eliminated first after getting triple teamed by 3 of the 4 horsewomen. Sasha gets eliminated second after hitting an exposed turnbuckle after Charlotte throws her into it, which surprised a lot of people. I think everyone kind of expected Sasha would be involved in the finish somehow. Not the case.
I thought she was going to come back out.
So the final 2 are Bayley and Charlotte, and eventually Bayley wins and retains the championship after hitting a top rope elbow drop on Charlotte. We heard the audience reaction. To me, it was a happy reaction, but also kind of a shocked reaction. I don't think anyone really expected Bayley to win. We certainly didn't.
It's the booking they're doing lately. For some reason, it's almost like, yeah, we know this is the payoff, but we're going to stretch it.
Mm-hmm.
Just stretch the living crap out of it to where you're just going to be sick of it.
And here's the thing with this match, if Sasha wasn't in the final 4, or final 2, I should say, that's fine. But it's interesting that they didn't really advance that storyline, at all in this match. I'm not saying it has to be the center of everything, the overarching story,
Raw
everything.
and Backlash, or the 2,
or Payback, whatever the hell it's called,
or Payback, yeah, whatever it's going to be, are going to be the very. For some reason, those are the 2 places everything goes down now. It's no longer Mania, like we were talking about on our predictions video.
They stretch these things out at least a month or 2 after Mania,
right.
It seems. So Bayley wins. She retains the championship. It's an awesome moment for Bayley and her fans to not only walk in to Mania as Women's Championship, but walking out. When people consider her, she was snubbed last year's WrestleMania for being called up the main roster. So this is a great redemption for her. And the last couple of weeks now, she's finally getting those convincing wins. She won last week on TV against Charlotte in the tag match, and then she beats Charlotte again on pay-per-view in WrestleMania. So, good on Bayley. Raw Tag Team Championships in a ladder match. It's Anderson and Gallows. It's Enzo and Cass. It's Cesaro and Sheamus. But who cares about those 3 teams? Because Hardy's.
Delete.
The Hardy Boys are back. A lot of people speculated this was going to happen. I was going to say I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
And I saw it, so I done believed it. It's not the broken gimmick anymore.
No, it's not. It's just the regular Hardy Boys.
Matt kept the hair the same, though. But that was the biggest pop of the night by far, was the Hardys coming back. I have complained in the past about bringing people back as surprise entrants with no build, but even in this situation, even I have to admit, yes, this was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
I kind of recant what I said about the AJ Styles thing. I still think that putting Shinsuke in last minute would have been a bad choice. But in this match, I think this worked. Now, unfortunately, it kind of undoes everything those other 3 teams have done. That's the drawback, because this match was literally those 3 teams do the bulk of the work. The Hardys come in, get their shit in, and they powder out, and they do some more spots later on.
Right.
They did so little in this match. They didn't have to. They literally came in.
Well, they wrestled 3 freaking
That's
times
right.
this week, and they probably are broken and the real broken Hardys. I mean,
because they worked their asses off this
10
weekend.
minutes at WrestleCon Friday. Then they lost the tag team
Ring of Honor,
championships,
which was in a ladder match.
Yes, to the Young Bucks.
So yeah, then they came out here and they did their thing at WrestleMania. So kudos to them.
They're lazy.
They got all the paydays at WrestleMania weekend. Jeff jumps off of a 1 trillion-foot ladder. I don't know where they got that, and he lands on, I forget which 2 guys were draped across the other ladders at ringside. He kills them. Matt climbs the ladder, gets the belts, and the Hardys. are the Raw Tag Team Champions
Wow.
in 2017.
Never would have thought.
And you know what? I think this all the credit for this goes to Matt Hardy, because he reinvented himself and he created this whole new character. It got over on its own. People laughed at it at first, and then it became the hottest thing. And even though it didn't look like they're going to be really doing it in WWE, it's like it's that level of what he did in creative ownership that got him back, and in doing so got his brother back in the company as well.
Same thing.
John Cena and Nikki Bella taking on The Miz and Maryse, with Al Roker as the special guest ring announcer.
Chocolate Thunder, you mean?
Now, Biggs, you and I, for a brief point in the show, actually managed to sneak our way to the hard cam side of the crowd on the floor, so we were like literally rubbing elbows with guys like Steve Corino and Jason Albert.
Yeah, we were.
Or Matt Bloom, I guess he's called now.
We were standing with the suits, man, and thank God I've got my long sleeves on and I was looking good, because
I'm wearing Zubaz on my Dick Kick City shirt, and I still was able to sit next to him. I don't know how I didn't get booted off, at least.
Right, and it got to the point where people were getting kicked out around us, and they were
you
letting
stayed.
us. Yeah, they let me stay. So apparently I look like a WWE executive.
But apparently, so here's the thing. There's the reason I bring that up, is because when Al Roker was doing his announcing, you overheard some rumblings from the suits.
Right. Apparently John had told Al not to announce him until he was on his way down to the ring or something to that effect, and so Al was announcing them before they actually made their entrance.
Right. Normally it's music, ring announcing, and that's how it goes. But Al apparently got his wires crossed, and then he was saying the people's names. Then the music played.
And they did the run through earlier today, apparently, and that pissed off officials.
He's a nimble fella.
Well, he's a TV guy. That's what the guy was saying. The executive. I don't want to say names, but he was like, he's a TV guy. He does stuff live. How can he screw up an entrance that he's rehearsed this morning?
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah. So anyway, and also someone else, I forget who brought this up on Twitter that I saw, the whole thing with like, oh, The Miz has said all along, John Cena's all about himself. John Cena gets his own entrance. When they come out, Nikki Bella comes out first, and John Cena gets his own thing.
That's funny. I didn't even notice that until right now.
The match itself was nothing that special. I mean, it was The Miz dominating for a lot of it. Cena doing some selling. John Cena gets his shit back in. He makes his comeback. Nikki and I don't even know how much wrestling did Nikki and Maryse even do. Do you recall?
Not too much, especially Maryse. She's really tamed it down.
And here's the thing. The Miz was doing the yes kicks, which are over now. No one is saying no when he's doing the kicks anymore. He pretty much is, he's taking the move now. Cena and Nikki hit their stereo finishers on Miz and Maryse. That's all she wrote. But the real story beyond this match, that by itself was kind of bland, is the moments after it, where John Cena, as a lot of people speculated, again, I was one of the opinion that it seems too cliche to be true. Let's give them a little bit of credit. So I was going to believe it when I saw it. And then, sure enough, it happened. John Cena proposes to Nikki Bella in the middle of the ring, and she says yes, and Mazel Tov to Cena and Nikki. The unsanctioned match. They even did the lights out gimmick a little bit on the entrance ramp for this match. It was Seth Rollins and Triple H. Triple H's entrance, what do you make of that?
I'll be 100% honest with you, Brian. I didn't see but maybe the last couple seconds of it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I thought of it. I thought on one level it was badass to have Triple H riding the three-wheeler, although it's hard to look badass in a trike, honestly. But he has the three-wheeler with his leather vest and Stephanie riding in the back, the wind blowing in her hair, because it's windy there. And it was on one level I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a badass entrance. I think it did more for me.
Was it better than the Conan entrance last year?
I was going to say, it did more for me than last year's.
Okay.
Last year's frightened me on many levels. But this one I thought was more toned down, but I think it was just the right shade of full of themselves, like super villain cartoon what it do. But it had that badass element to it. Basically the match is what I kind of thought it would be. Triple H just works the leg for the majority of it.
There was a disappointment though.
But where was the disappointment?
No Samoa Joe.
Right. I think this is kind of a match where everyone kind of thought Samoa Joe and or Finn Balor would be involved, and there was none of that. But I don't
really know why Finn Balor would be involved.
Because Finn Balor's the answer to everything.
Oh, that's right.
Have you learned nothing from our time
I'm sorry.
doing this show? This is pretty much a straight-up one-on-one match. Stephanie, this is kind of a throwback to 2000 when Stephanie was getting involved and cheating and interfering and stuff. She gets put through a table near the end of the match. I'm jumping ahead here because there are some cool spots worth talking about. You know, Rollins recreating the spot that hurt his leg in the first place, the sunset flip out of the corner.
Right.
Doing the corner powerbomb to Triple H. You know,
the Sting Killer.
Right, the Sting Killer, the Balor Killer, you know. But this one, it looked clean as a whistle. Rollins and Triple H fighting over the sledgehammer. The pedigree counter off. They had all their all their counters saved up, and they were hitting R at just the right times. Triple H almost hits Stephanie, doesn't, and then Rollins hits Triple H. Triple H knocks
it didn't look good.
That part looked a little awkward because Stephanie was just standing there waiting for it. She was looking back. Oh yeah, I'm in the right place. But then she gets hit. She gets her comeuppance. You know, that seems to be the new tradition. And Seth Rollins wins with a pedigree, which I don't think has ever happened before. Has Triple H ever lost a match to his own move?
No, but I mean, it's it's wrestling, so that's like the ultimate insult.
The whole report that Rollins' injury has been a work. I mean, if it is a work and the injury was not as bad or non-existent as people thought, then it's a hell of a work because they convinced me a couple of times.
So what do you think happens with this from here going forward?
I think, short term, I think they're going to restart the feud with Samoa Joe that they didn't get to do at Fastlane. And, you know, long term, maybe fight the person who won the Goldberg-Lesnar match for the Universal Championship. WWE Championship on the line, Bray Wyatt defending against Randy Orton. I loved Wyatt's entrance here because the whole ramp was LED, so it was all fireflies. So you had this image of him like floating among the stars, which I thought was a really cool visual.
They went above and beyond on the entrance ramp this year. I mean, I can't say any more about that.
Right, entrances were top notch. The whole set I thought was great, and we've gushed enough about that. Let's talk about the match itself. I think the biggest takeaways here, like I'm comparing to like their match at like No Mercy, and then like the house show match we saw the next night in Reno.
Right.
You know, I didn't see a lot different from that match that we hadn't seen before.
Right.
The biggest things were the fact that every time Orton was on the floor in the ring, you would get this drop-down angle and see like the maggots and the worms and the cockroaches show up.
Right.
What is this building to? Well, it turns out not a whole lot, because in the end, Orton hits an RKO out of nowhere and wins the championship. A championship I didn't think he needed. And like I said the predictions video, the way this angle has gone, it would almost be silly to have it, at least, I mean, maybe it'll continue at least, but I think it's weird to have Orton win the belt.
It's got to continue. I think they should go for a triple threat at the next pay-per-view.
Bring Luke Harper back into the fold?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was kind of deserving of that in a weird way.
Yeah, I think, and JD said this, the Internet Darlings, on Saturday.
He did.
If there was one match that should have been a triple threat match, it was this one. I think the story really kind of wrote itself, but for whatever reason they didn't do it. Luke Harper was, of course, in the Honor of the Giant Battle Royal. He was another disappointment to see not win. Also, fun fact, this is Randy Orton's first World Championship since WrestleMania 30, when he was going into the show as champion before losing to Daniel Bryan. Also, one thing I thought was weird is, like, for this world title win, and this world title victory, and this title change, they sure didn't stick around on him for a whole lot before going to the commercial.
He went right to commercial.
They did. They barely waited for, the ring to get cold before they decided to roll that video. Universal Championship match. Goldberg defending against Brock Lesnar. And I gotta tell you, of the matches we've seen from them, from WrestleMania 20 to Survivor Series to their kerfuffle at the Royal Rumble to now, this was their best encounter of all of them. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I was down at ringside basically for this pay-per-view in a way. So I mean, I heard some rumblings from executives going, "This is gonna go 7 minutes," and then somebody's like, "Shh." So I knew. I was texting the Z-Man. I'm going, dude, it's going to be a 7-minute match.
And
sure enough was.
Yeah, I thought it was a very exciting 7 minutes. I mean, it was mostly spears and suplexes. It was a spears and suplex gumbo pretty much the whole time.
It was.
And there was times when you thought, oh my God, Goldberg's going to win again, because he hits the jackhammer, but Lesnar kicks out of it. And there's also the spear through the barricade, which was great. I mean, I can't believe Goldberg was able to get an OMG moment so soon in the match. He had a lot of momentum, apparently. He hit 10 suplexes, and the crowd went nuts for the 10th suplex. They expected Ty Dillinger to materialize upon this 10th suplex and do something. So Lesnar wins after hitting Goldberg with a single F5 after 10 Germans, and is the new Universal Champion. Like I said, this was the most exciting match out of all of them. It was like literally everyone had their finishers and their signatures saved up, and it just went boom, 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 boom. They all had them stored up, and that's all it took. And it was the most bumps Goldberg had taken in the 6 months he's been back. So it goes from one part-timer to the next.
It's just a hold on till 34 so Roman Reigns can beat him for it.
God help us. The SmackDown Women's Championship is on the line in a six-pack challenge. Alexa Bliss gets a huge pop coming out of it. I think people popped because people were expecting this match was going to get cut for time. And I was one of those people like, oh my God, like this is getting so late. Like
they got palate cleanser between,
right. When you think about it, it's the palate cleanser. And women's matches, historically, for whatever reason, are kind of those intermediaries. So you put them between like your one big match and your semi-main and your main.
Right.
And this held true tonight. So yeah, Alexa Bliss gets the big pop. Becky Lynch comes out with an outfit that's inspired by the Fifth Element, or at least the hairstyle and the makeup at least. This match was very rushed. I will say it's almost as if they had their time cut. I did like, also, speaking of outfits, I did pop for James Ellsworth's custom Carmella jacket. I thought that was
and we talked about
exquisite.
This, if that was the proposal tonight instead of the Nikki and Cena,
that would have been so hilarious.
Ellsworth had proposed to Carmella.
Also during the pre-show, behind us in the stands, a fan had proposed to his girlfriend, and she said yes. So it was night of proposals. I'd love to see Ellsworth try and steal Cena's thunder there. Everyone kind of gets their spots in. The match ends when Naomi gets Alexa in this Anaconda Vice like arm hook combo. It looked sick, and we've seen Alexa use her double jointedness and her flexibility in the past to sell injuries, so this looked especially gruesome, and she taps out. Naomi, after her knee injury, having to relinquish the championship a few weeks ago, is once again the SmackDown Women's Champion. Here it is, folks, your main event for the evening. Roman Reigns fighting The Undertaker. I will say from the get-go, the hype package that they had before this was probably one of the most loving tributes to The Undertaker and his career in WWE as you could get. Like, you know, short of his 25-year promo that happened at Survivor Series a year and a half ago, this was just one of those things where it shows all the history and everything he's accomplished. You know, it shows his whole resume appear to you before your eyes in those 4 to 5 minutes. And, you know, it was just another one of those signs that, yep, you know what's going down. And then the fact that JR was the special guest announcer, guest commentator for this match, yep, you know what's going down. This match, I'm not gonna lie and say it was an amazing match. There were some parts that were very badly botched. There was the tombstone reversal spot that Roman could not hold on to Taker.
And he got a "you can't wrestle" chant.
Yeah, and which is, you know, I think that's not fair. And then you've got the part near the end, the finish, where Roman was trying to go for a spear, but he like stopped and just grabbed his arm. That was really fucked up. But I think other than that, I think it was a good story. A lot of drop kicks and punches. The two were punching each other. Roman doing the drop kicks a lot of the time. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. Lots of brawling in this match too. I'm not sure how recently they announced the match was going to be no holds barred. Maybe it was at the pre-show and we just didn't hear it. But it was, I think it helped because it allowed them to do more stuff than just in-ring things where they might get exposed, which they did anyway. But they had the stuff where Taker chokeslam Reigns on the table and it didn't break. He was going to do something. He was doing the throat cut thing, and Roman spears him. They jump off and hit another table and go through it. That was a pretty cool spot. You could see it in the facial expressions, mostly in Roman Reigns, but also in Taker near the end, where Taker just kept kicking out and kicking out and kicking out, and you see the frustration and almost kind of the sadness in Roman's face as he's saying, "Don't get up. I told you, don't get up." And then you see Taker going, "You ain't got the balls." Roman bounces off the ropes 8 times and spears Taker one final time to put him away. And then he has the long walk back up the ramp. Fans hate him. They would have hated him no matter what he did, but they really hated him for this match. The yay boos were prevalent the whole match. But then what happens at the end is very touching and very dramatic and sad and just a whole bunch of emotions all at once. You know,
they cut to the packet. They cut to a package.
Yeah, and it comes back and you see Taker. He's got his gear back on.
Yeah.
He takes off the gloves. He takes off the coat, takes off the hat, leaves it in the ring, and then he soaks in all the crowd adulation. Really
long walk back up the
long
ramp.
walk back, well, the halfway, because then he descends into the abyss.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, great way to get around the whole long entrance thing by having him pop up from the middle of the ramp for his entrance. It was the end of an era, you know? We got a tease of that at Mania 28 when it was like him and Triple H, and they were walked back up together, and this one, it was for real. It was, if Taker comes back for a match now, it's going to feel awful cheap what they did tonight, because short of then taking his boots off and leaving him in the ring, that's about as serious as you can get when you're signaling your retirement.
Absolutely, when you're someone that big. But yeah, I would assume this is the retirement stadium. I mean, Florida, as you said at the show, is the retirement state. People like to retire here.
We're in Florida, and so it was a very touching moment, very emotional moment. If you're a fan of Taker, love him or hate him, you have to respect him for everything he's done, and this is probably the best possible send-off you could get. You may not like the fact he fought Roman Reigns or that he lost to Roman Reigns, but except for some noticeable botches, I think it told a good story, and I think, Taker...
God, they are standing by their man like Loretta Lynn, the WWE with Roman Reigns,
and Taker, but man, that Taker farewell, like the emotion of that, in my opinion, supersedes everything that happened in the preceding moments.
Right.
It was Taker losing, Taker retiring. That was beautiful. I want to go back and watch this match again just because I want to hear JR call the thing.
Absolutely.
And by the way, didn't Jerry Lawler made an appearance too? I forget what match he showed up for. But
I think he called the Lesnar Goldberg match.
No, it was the mixed tag. He just came out for that of all matches. I mean, I don't know if I'm curious to hear what he sounds like for that one, but it was Anyway, I do want to hear JR do commentary for this match.
Puppies!
So, that was WrestleMania. That was
long, drawn out.
The long thrill ride. Long chills and spills and thrills.
You know when you go to an amusement park and you get pissed off because it's like you stood in line for an hour to ride that thing for a minute? Well, this is like we stood in line for a minute to ride for an hour.
It was like that because we weren't hanging out very long outside before we went.
No, we got in right in. It was a lot better than the last two at Santa Clara and Dallas. We got in quick.
So anyway, here's the thing about this show. Was it better than 32? Yes. 32 was dog shit compared to this show.
Right.
However, I think it was just like, there were a lot of matches to me that didn't feel like they were WrestleMania matches. They felt like they were Raw matches or SmackDown matches.
Right.
Like U.S. title, I felt that could have been better. Orton and Wyatt, I thought could have been a better match as well. I thought the gimmick with the projection down there, like if it led to something greater, it would have been
AJ
nice.
Shane killed it.
AJ Shane, I thought was great. There wasn't really, in my opinion, I'm scrolling through the notes. There was nothing that was like bad. There was no stinker matches. There were just matches that weren't WrestleMania caliber. Like the mixed tag team match. Like I said, no one cares about that match, and even if you watched it, it wasn't that special of a match. But it was everything after that took place that was worth it. So because the show was so damn long, and there were good matches, but there were also some not so great matches, it's hard to give this a fair grade because it was a lot of content, a lot of stuff to take in.
I think, it's like you said, if you look overall, I mean, there was some good stuff, like the AJ Styles and Shane match, to me, was pretty exciting. It was a good match. Goldberg, Lesnar, the end of that. The Undertaker retiring, Roman Reigns, basically having Hardys came back. There was some good Mania moments, I think, yes, if you want to measure by the metric of Mania moments, say that 5 times fast, this show beats the pants off of 32 in every respect. This could not be in the bottom 10.
No, and like I had a lot of people texting me or tweeting me today saying, "Oh my God, this has like been an awesome Mania." Some people say it's been the best ever. I'm not gonna go that far and say that, but I definitely, it's definitely not bottom 10. Maybe not top 10. I would maybe put it as a top 12. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's top 10. I don't know. There was a lot of good stuff with this. There wasn't a whole ton of bad.
Just the production value to me made it so much better.
The production value was epic. And again, I don't know.
I'd say overall, I'd give it an 8.
An 8? Well, I talked about letter grade. We do letter grades here on the show.
Oh, we do.
Biggs.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you did top 8s. So I would give it like a B plus.
Okay.
That makes any sense?
Okay, I would give it. I almost want to agree with you. I want to give it a B plus show because, like I said, the bad matches weren't even that bad. They were just not amazing. And there were just a lot of amazing moments peppered throughout the show. And again, it's just a matter of quantity. I mean, If there were this many big moments packed into a 3-hour show, then we would all lose our minds. It would be the best Mania of all time. And the thing about the matches I say that are boring is the build for them were all really good. I think the build for most of these matches were on par or above what they should have been. So I think B+ is probably a fair grade for us. Let us know what you thought about WrestleMania in the comments section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it. Subscribe to Wrestling with Regret and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. For Jay Biggs, I'm Brian Zane, and we're going to go to the hotel and get some damn sleep.